Welcome back to our special preview on WVMetroNews.com of the 2010 West Virginia Mountaineers. So in our first segment, we focused on the Mountaineer offense. Let's go to the other side of the ball. The West Virginia defense. A lot of familiar faces are back. Sean Falkenstein with us now for a preview of the Mountaineer D.
West Virginia's defense is expected to do great things this year, with 9 starters returning from last year's unit that finished as the 36th ranked defense in the country. The Mountaineer defense was expected to be much better than the 21 points and 377 yards allowed per game last year, but injuries and suspensions kept the defense from starting the same 11 for most of the season. In the games in which all 11 starters were healthy and available, the defense showed that it was one of the best in the Big East. But all that shuffling had a silver lining. Young players were able to gain valuable experience.
We got some kids that are coming back, but they got to be a year better. I mean, that wasn't the best defense in the school's history last year. So, they've got to get a little bit better. Just because you have some guys back doesn't mean you're going to be a great defense.
The one place on the defense that has seen the most growth in the offseason is the defensive line, which was ravaged by injuries and Scooter Berry's suspension last season. This year, players like George Wright and Josh Taylor enter with valuable game experience. Couple that with the arrival of junior college transfer Bruce Irvin and the maturation of Will Clark, you all of a sudden have a wealth of depth behind starters Chris Neal, Julian Miller, and Scooter Berry.
I think everybody understands that now. We got a group of guys in the D-line that we've been around, except for Demko, but he's starting to get it. Everybody else got it, and we're looking good.
Behind the D-line is an experienced group of linebackers that have 47 starts among them. Senior J.T. Thomas has filled the leadership void left by the graduation of Reed Williams, and senior Pat Lazier will replace Williams at the middle linebacker position. Anthony Leonard moves to the weak side position. However, behind that front line of experienced backers, only Najee Good has seen much playing time. Young Bucks Bronco Busick, Donovan Miles, and Tyler Anderson will get playing time in spots, but will have to learn on the fly.
We'll just have to come in and do the work. We hear around here a lot. It's hard to be good. It really is. And we'll have to be dedicated enough to go in and watch film and say, hey, this is what we need to do to be better.
In the defensive backfield is where some of the Mountaineers' most dynamic playmakers reside. All-Big East first-teamer Robert Sands emerged as one of the nation's best safeties last season, finishing up with 5 interceptions and 65 tackles.
Different teams going to be trying to game plan for me and stuff like that, so I'm pretty sure the coach is going to try to move me around a lot just so they could try to focus on me and throw them off their game a little bit, just to free up other players.
He's a player. He's 6. If he's 6 foot, he'd be a player, but he's a lot better at his height.
Helping out Sands in the defensive backfield will be Sidney Glover, Ian Smith, and Terrence Garvin. Glover is finally healthy after missing some time last season, while Smith and Garvin have been drawing great praise in preseason camp. At cornerback, All-Big East first-teamer Brandon Hogan returns, as well as fellow starter Keith Tandy. However, freshman Broderick Jenkins is pushing both of them for playing time.
He's coming along. 2 days ago, he had you asked him, he had probably his worst day. And again, to me, that has to happen. He's got to get run by. He's got to miss a tackle in order for him to realize, what he needs to do. And as far as the experience, when he gets out there, come game time, he's ready to go.
All in all, this Mountaineer defense has the potential to be the best in the Big East. But they'll have to avoid injuries and perform up to expectations for that potential to be realized. I'm Sean Falkenstein.
Thank you very much, Sean. And so we've focused on the offense and the defense, but there is another very important facet to the game of football that can decide it on one play. I'm talking about special teams. Now, a year ago, West Virginia was among the top 10 nationally in net punting, yet its kickoff coverage was among the worst in the nation. As Chip Fontanazza reports, the Mountaineers are trying to sustain on the punt and greatly improve on the kick return coverage.
There is no avoiding it, but West Virginia had one of the worst kickoff coverage teams in the country the past 2 seasons, ranking 104th out of 120 football bowl subdivision schools last season. So to fix the problem, head coach Bill Stewart has turned over the special teams coaching duties to defensive assistant Steve Dunlap and tight ends coach Dave McMichael.
Problems we had, I just looked at it briefly, is not taking good angles on drops in order to get inside out on your people or the guys that you're responsible for blocking. But there were some encouraging things. A couple missed assignments, but I think those kids really want to be good at this.
One of the things Dunlap and McMichael are looking for on kickoffs is a strong leg, and they may have found their man in Corey Smith, who's competing for all 3 kicking positions.
There's a lot of different ways to look at it. You can play the numbers game where you got 3 times the shot to get on the field. Or, you can look at it, it's really important that you keep all 3 leg swings different. But actually here it's pretty much like 4 leg swings. You have the roll punt, conventional punt, field goal, and kickoff.
And Smith is also competing for the starting kicker's position, but it's hard to unseat a legend. In his redshirt freshman season, kicker Tyler Bittenkurt booted a 43-yard game-winning field goal as the clock expired against Pitt last season here on Mountaineer Field.
It's pretty clear in my mind, I guess, because it's such a big moment in my life. But the main thing that I remember was during the kick, everything went smooth, just as I had hoped for. And after the kick, it was unbelievable.
Bittenkurt made 13 of his 15 field goal attempts and 41 of 42 extra points last season, but the most successful phase of special teams last year may have been the Mountaineers' punting game, with all Big East punter Scott Kozlowski averaging 44 yards per punt, with 17 of them nestling inside the 20-yard line. As a unit, the punt team finished 11th in the country. Kozlowski has graduated, and with preseason practice nearly over, Stewart hasn't decided who will replace him, but it's down to Smith and Greg Pugnetti.
I think I'll let them both do it. For just say to start, would say Greg Pugnetti, you go with the ones. Next punt, if we have to punt, Corey, you go with the ones. I want to see what they can do under stress, in a game situation.
In the return game, look for Noel Devine and Tavon Austin to continue returning kickoffs, with Jock Sanders and Brandon Hogan returning punts.
It starts off with our outside mans. We got to have those guys each and every day repping it as a game rep, and just don't have the outside mans just running down without getting blocked. We got to really press those on those guys.
Special teams can often be overlooked, but Mountaineer fans are well aware of the troubles in the kickoff game and will be watching closely this year in hopes of improvement. I'm Chip Fontanazza.
Thank you, Chip. So there you have it, the offense, the defense, and the special teams. What's next? Well, the opposition. How does West Virginia stack up? Jed Drenning will join us for that as this special edition of the 2010 Mountaineer Football Preview continues on WVMetroNews.com. Preview Jed Virginia stack on WVU.com. Jed on WVU.com. Jed on WVU.com. Jed on WVU.com. Preview Metro News Mountaineer Foot Jed.com and WVU. Jed.com. The Metro Preview News Mountaineer Football. The Metro Preview Jed.com and WVU. Jed.com and WVU. Jed.com and WVU. Jed.com and WVU. Jed.com. Preview the Metro News Mountaineer Foot Jed.com and WVU. 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 The Metro Preview News Mountaineer Foot Jed.com and WVU. 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 Preview the Metro News Mountaineer Football. Preview the Metro Jed.com and WVU. Jed.com and WVU. Jed.com and WVU. Jed.com and WVU. The Metro Preview News Mountaineer Football. The Metro Preview Jed.com and WVU. Jed.com and WVU. preview Metro News, MountaineerFoot.com, and W Jed News, Mountaineer Foot Metro Preview 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 News, Mountaineer Foot Jed.com, and W Mountaineer Foot Preview Metro News, Jed.com, and W 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 Jed.com, the Metro Previews News, Mountaineer Foot Jed.com, and W Jed.com, and W Mountaineer Foot Preview Metro News.com, and W Jed.com, and W Jed.com, the Metro Previews News, Mountaineer Foot the Metro Previews.com, Jed and W Previews the Metro News, Mountaineer Foot Previews the Metro News, Mountaineer Foot Previews the Metro News, Mountaineer Foot Jed.com, and W the Metro News Preview News, Mountaineer Foot 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 the Metro News Preview News,